on Wednesday finally passed the much-anticipated Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026, rejecting the proposal that allows presiding officers to electronically transmit election results from polling units to INEC iRev portal in real time. The upper legislative chamber retains the provision of the old Electoral Act 2022, which allows for manual counting of votes and also allows presiding officers to transfer election results in a manner as prescribed by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. In October 2023, the Supreme Court of Nigeria ruled that the electronic transmission of election results was not mandatory under the Electoral Act 2022. The court affirmed that the Independent National Electoral Commission had the legal authority and discretion to determine the specific mode for transmitting and collating election results. The action of the senators came to many Nigerians as a rude shock because their counterparts in the House of Representatives had passed the landmark provision 2 months ago, which drew applause from stakeholders who saw it as a major step to guaranteeing electoral integrity in the country. All right, so three major stories this morning. Yeah. Of course, the first one, we've had quite a deep discussion with deep dive, getting more clarity with regards to what happened in Oworo village in Kayama local government area of Kwara State, and then of course the Minister of Defense coming out to give some clarifications to the announcement that we have U.S. troops here in Nigeria, and finally, disappointment, I would say, describes some of the feelings of what happened following the Electoral Act amendment.
As regards to the U.S. troop here, I've always said they were here for recce's, recce's, logistics, training. So pretty much America will not come and put combat boots on the ground here. I mean, not really the case. I mean, it's going to be part of the ongoing relationship, and this is not the first time things like that happen. As regards the Senate, I'm not surprised, Ayo. Yesterday, if you remember, I made the arguments that this was the argument they were going to make. They were going to say, oh, no adequate technology, no adequate network and things like that. But it just shows that they cannot openly go for a free and fair election because they know they will lose. That's what politicians are doing. So it is obvious that they've never won an election freely. Why do they keep opting for the coalition center? Because they know coalition center is the rigging ground. Have you forgotten elections in when Rochas Okorocha was vying for Senate seats? That the coalition officer in the coalition center was saying, I'm announcing this result under duress, and a result stood. So it is the coalition center they know how to manipulate. So you see, with this use of technology, they have seen, okay, even if people don't vote for us in the polling units, we'll turn the elections around in the coalition center. And that's why they will never allow iRev to be the independent arbiter so that we can cut off the coalition center, so that once you post results from the polling unit, it goes to iRev and we start to see results for them. So they are not ready, Ayo. It's the hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy they do. They only do things to favor them. Even the people that are selling PVCs, they said they should not give them 10-year ban from election. You know what they said? They should give them 5 million fine because they know they'll be able to pay the fine easily. Please, they are already selling PVC in most parts of the country. Political parties are harvesting and buying PVC, but people are buying for 50 or 60,000 naira. So we know all of that is happening. As regards what happened in Kwara, like I always say, there's no security in this country. May God, I pray for you, Dr. Abati, I pray for you, Ayo, I pray for you watching me. May God not allow Nigeria happen to all of us, because if it happens to you, you have no security. Look at how the Kwara State Chief Press Secretary was saying that as the crowd military responded at the time, thank God for Alhaji Bio that came out to clarify that it took them 10 hours to be able to respond. So it shows that there's no security. There's massive level of complicity.
Okay. We commend the military when they do it, but on this, there is no security. May God save all of us. All right, Dr. Abati.
Okay, the most important story this morning would definitely be the killings in Oworo community in Kayama local government area in Kwara State. And it's not just Kwara State. We also had incidents in Niger State. In January, 3 churches were attacked. Over 70 persons were said to have been killed in those 3 incidents taken together. And now it's Kwara. This is not the first time we're having this issue in Kwara over doctrine. And as the village head pointed out, the victims were not all Muslims. They were also Christians involved. In other words, that's why we consistently make the point that, look, all of us are under siege. Whether you are Christian or you are Muslim or you're a traditional African worshipper, some of them, their shrines were attacked in Auchi, earlier this week. So, some other times, it could be in Ilorin, this same Kwara state, people called Isheshe people. So there is a general atmosphere of fear, a climate of fear, as Professor Wole Soyinka calls it. So government has a responsibility to continue to address this. Now, response time is always delayed. 10 hours killing in a particular community, 3 hours killing the community, and then the security agencies, the law enforcement agencies will show up after the fact, long after the terrorists have left. That is not good enough, and that should be a priority for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And now we're told that the Americans are here. Gavin Anderson, General of the African Command, said sending a small troop, a small battalion, a small team to Nigeria, was something he agreed upon with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when they met in Rome. Definitely, within the international framework about combating terrorism, there's room for cooperation, collaboration on security matters. After all, when President Tinubu was in Turkey, cooperation at a security level was part of the discussion. And now we have some of the troops, and we're told, okay, they will help with intelligence, they will provide support, including logistics for the Nigerian troops. We need all the support that we can get, whether it is with the Mahmuda in Kwara State or with the Timbuktu Triangle, that has been identified elsewhere, just to check both Boko Haram and the Islamic State. Now, the other more important subject is the Senate. Now, what the Senate has done is just to be pragmatic. The Senate is avoiding a situation whereby the ruling party will commit political rustication, whereby the ruling party will commit suicide, whereby the lawmakers who have been elected on their own part, will move from self-preservation to putting themselves at the risk of the Nigerian people. First element that I see here is the lack of trust in the people's ability to choose their own leaders. And we keep insisting that the people should be the ones to choose their own leaders. So when you now say you don't want real-time transmission, what it means is that you don't want the voters themselves to determine the results. Yeah. You are saying, you are retaining Section 60 and saying that, the INEC should be the person to use his discretion about how results are transmitted. That is why Nigerian people are saying, no, we are also major stakeholders in this. Yeah. Those who buy votes, you are not saying they will not be banned for 10 years. They will be, they will pay between 500K and 5 million naira. That's a slap on the wrist, to use your expression. And now to harmonize, they are saying it will take a whole month. We have been saying that timing is part of the problem we face. Then you also have the problem with the House of Reps. How do you harmonize? House of Reps going in another direction, Senate in another direction. House of Reps is even now saying they want to amend certain things. So this is just self-preservation. It's about pragmatism. They've not stopped the electronic transmission, but they are saying the INEC should be the one to decide. It's not mandatory.
I think one of the biggest disappointments based on the outcome of the Electoral Act, Amendment Act of 2026 is that it puts a big question mark on the electoral integrity of 2027. It also does a huge disservice to a number of civil society organizations and stakeholders who work tirelessly to present an electoral amendment bill that would work well for the Nigerian people. In the words of the ADC, in a statement released by the National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the actions of the Senate is a deliberate attempt to undermine Nigeria's democracy. Already, the democratic atmosphere of Nigeria is grappling with moving towards a one-party state. It's grappling with the challenges of voter apathy and the fact that only a few Nigerians will be bold enough or find interest enough to come out to choose who their leaders will be come 2027. They are grappling with the fact that most of the opposition political parties are in disarray, so there's no strong opposition in Nigeria. Again, going back to the one-party state. They are grappling with the integrity and intentions of INEC to prosecute a free, fair, and credible elections, learning from the past mistakes that occurred in 2023. A number of challenges that we are grappling with, and now to throw in the spanner in the works even further, we had this, passing of the Electoral Amendment Act of 2026, which will not leave confidence in the hearts or minds of Nigerians to actually exercise their franchise come 2027, because it seems as if it's a predetermined effort to frustrate true democratic process from happening in Nigeria. It would have been a fine moment for the Senate to demonstrate their willingness to promote democratic structure in Nigeria, but unfortunately, they missed that, and that's quite sad. But we move forward and we continue to see how we can continue to push for democratic institutions to be strengthened, for people to have faith in the democratic process in Nigeria, and for INEC to do right by the people. Now, very quickly, I want to emphasize some points with regards to what happened in Oworo community in Kayama village, in Kayama local government in Kwara State. The most important point, I believe, is the fact that the village head said that he reported the incident to a DSS official. So if you notice the trend of the attacks that have happened from last year, late last year into this year, intelligence reports was received. But unfortunately, nothing was done with intelligence. And it seems like there's a deliberate complicity with erring officers or rogue officers within the Nigerian military itself, or security operatives themselves. And if we're to win this way against terrorism, those elements must be fished out, they must be found out, and they must be brought to book. If that does not happen, we will continue to get intelligence and have upstanding citizens like the leader who performed excellently by going to report and present the letter, but unfortunately he was betrayed because nothing happened. Instead, his community members were killed. A sad day in Kwara State, a sad day in Nigeria, and hopefully we can find our way forward away from these dark days of terrorism and banditry in Nigeria.